Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second part of our webinar series. Today, we'll cover crucial aspects of managing your business's operations using Docket, with a specific focus on accounts payable and expense management. All right, so let's take a look at the agenda. Here's what we are going to cover today. We're going to review the accounting dashboard. I'm going to teach you how to upload and pay bills, how to upload and verify receipts, and how to verify and pay employee expense reports. Just a few housekeeping items. Please post any questions that you have in the Q&A section in the Zoom webinar window. I'm going to explain each of our concepts here, and then I'll demonstrate that inside of Docket. And then at the end of our time here, I'll have plenty of time to address any questions that you all have. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so your accounting dashboard is a helpful tool that helps you keep all of your information in one place. And what I mean by that is it actually allows you to keep your unpaid, unapproved invoices, and tasks that are related to accounts payable in one place. So let's go ahead and take a look at Docket. So here's the tasks dashboard. And here is the accounting dashboard. So after we log into Docket and we click on the accounting, here we can see our accounts payable information is in one place. So here I know I can quickly see that I've got 4 invoices outstanding, 3 are unverified, 1 is unpaid, and then I have 3 unverified receipts. And it's the same with regards to on our app. So your mobile app, which is available on Android as well as iOS, does have these dashboards available too. So here's your tasks dashboard. And then here is the primary dashboard. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in a bit deeper. I'm going to teach you how to manage your bills. So this involves uploading and paying bills or invoices. Now, invoices can be sent to Docket through email by uploading on the web app or on the mobile app. We also offer several bill pay options, including ACH, Docket, check, self-print check, and manual check. So this gives you lots of flexibility and convenience to manage your bills. For this demonstration, I am going to be using the Docket web app, but keep in mind, many of these features are available for the mobile app as well. So once I'm logged into Docket and in my account, I click on Expense Management, Accounts Payable, and Invoice Queue. This is where the action happens, and this is where you can see your invoice queue tells you all of those invoices that you've got at any moment in time. We can see one is ready to pay and others are needing to be verified. Now, to simply send the invoices to Docket, you can email them to this email address. So each Docket business has a unique email address, and you simply have to copy that by clicking on the icon there on the top left-hand corner. You can give that to your vendors if you want them to email your bills directly into Docket, or if you have a bill that has come into your email, you can simply forward it to that email address and it'll pop right into Docket. Otherwise, another best practice is that you can scan all of your bills. Let's say you save them for a week, you scan all of them at once into a PDF, and then you can click on Add Invoice. You can drag and drop or select and browse. So I'm going to show you what that looks like if we drag and drop. So here I've got an invoice. Simply going to drag and drop that, and I can save and close. By saving and closing, this allows Docket to Docket's AI and automation system to run through and extract all the information out. Once Docket has finished that extraction, what we have is you'll notice on the top right-hand corner, after you click on an invoice, you'll see the status. So in verification just simply means that we need to verify the information on that invoice. And you can see here all the information from my invoice was extracted, the payee, the amount, my invoice number, invoice date, and due date is all extracted from my invoice. So I can simply mark that as verified. Once I mark it as verified, it does go into the ready to pay status. Now, this is going into ready to pay status directly because I don't have an additional approver chain turned on. And what I mean by that is if your business is set up, if your accounts payable team or department is set up in such a way where you do want to have a person in your business who approves bills prior to having them submitted for payment, you can set it up that way. I just don't have that turned on, which is why once it's verified, it's automatically in the ready to pay status. Once it's ready to pay, what you do is you can click on the dollar amount here, and here are the different options that you have. If you pay by Docket check, what will happen is Docket will take care of the printing and mailing of a check for you. So you keep the float. You don't have that check will be, mailed to the vendor on your behalf. We also have Docket ACH. So this is another payment method that is available to you. There are some fees that apply with that, but if you want, we can absolutely pay bills on your behalf through ACH. And then you have the option for self-print check. Docket does print on um, Docket does print on blank check stock that you can buy on Amazon and print on your printer. So you have that option as well. Oops, I didn't mean to click on that. And then you can also mark it as paid. So for example, let's say I wrote a manual checkout for this bill. I can mark it as paid and then choose manual check or any other type of payment that I have made. You can split invoices. So there's multiple ways you can split invoices, or you can mark it as do not pay. All right, now we're going to move on to receipts. So uploading and verifying receipts, there's 3 ways to upload business receipts. You can do that through the mobile app, through email, or by uploading it directly inside of Docket. So we're going to cover how to approve these receipts to ensure that they're properly accounted for in your financial payments. So when you're on your accounting dashboard, you can see under receipts very quickly how many of your receipts are there or unverified. So to quickly access your receipt box, you can simply go to accounting and then click on that hyperlink. This immediately takes you to receipt box. Otherwise, if you're inside of Docket and you want to learn how to access your receipt box, you simply go to expense management, receipt box, and receipt list, and this takes you to your receipts. So it's 2 different ways to get to the same spot, just depending on where you start from. So to email receipts directly into Docket, you simply can click on that little icon on the top left-hand corner, and that is your unique receipt box email address. So you can email them there. This is also accessible. You can also upload receipts on your your mobile app as well, whether it's Android or iPhone. Just have to click on the plus button at the bottom of the screen, and you would choose business receipt to upload a receipt. Inside of the web app, if you want to add a receipt from the web app, you can drag and drop here, or you can select it from your computer. Now here I have three receipts that I have already uploaded. So we'll just take a look at that and show you how to verify. Verification is very simple. It's basically looking at the receipt and ensuring that the information on the right-hand side is accurate. And so I'm going to approve that receipt, and then it moves me to the next one. I confirm whether what the information is this accurate? So there's one thing I need to add here. This transaction was on May 3rd. I'm approving that and moving on. Now that I've approved the receipts, they move over to the approved tab here. So they'll move away from uploaded status over to approved. So if you want to take a look at historically approved receipts, you would simply just click on that tab and they are right here. Finally, let's talk about verifying and paying employee expense reports. Once an employee submits an expense report, it automatically will show in your accounts payable module. I'm going to show you what this process looks like end to end. So I'm currently logged in as the business owner of Busy Bees Bakery. I'm going to go ahead and navigate over to business employees. So I went to settings and then business employees. To add an employee, you simply have to click add. You put in their first name and last name. And their email address. I can't seem to type today. There we go. All right. And then click next. When you're adding the employee, you're going to make sure to choose employee from that drop-down box. When you choose employee, that ensures that they are set up to submit expense receipts only. So they won't have any other access other than being able to submit expense reports. Then you would click save. Once you save that, your employee gets an email invitation in their email inbox, inviting them to create a login for Docket. And this allows them to submit expense reports. So you can see I have already set up an employee here where their role is employee. They don't have any other access. So if you remember, if you attended yesterday, we talked about user permissions. So all other permissions for all other modules is turned off and they are in the role of employee, which means what they can do is submit employee expense reports. So I'm going to go ahead and sign out as a business owner and log in as if I was the employee. So you can see what that experience looks like. So when an employee logs into Docket, they will As you can see, there's no information here. That is because they don't have access to those modules. So that employee only has access to submit expense reports. And they can do that on the web app as well as their mobile app. So as an employee, your employee would go to expense management and expense reports. Now, as part of the setup, one of the things that we do ask that is part of the setup flow is having your employees set up a bank account. This allows you to reimburse or pay any sort of employee expense reports directly to their bank account. So when the employee is going through the setup process, they'll connect their bank account so that way you can pay them. If that is not the preferred method of paying your employees, so if you're going to cut a check or something like that, you can opt to not have that. So here I don't have my bank account set up. And then their expenses here, just to orient you to the screen. There's a couple ways that employees can submit expenses. They can email them or upload them from the web app or create them on the mobile app. And on the top left-hand corner is the expense report email inbox. So simply clicking on that icon on the top left-hand corner gives the employee or you the email address for expense reports. Uploaded shows any new reports that are newly created. Submitted shows those reports, expense reports that have been submitted by the employee but have not yet been paid. And then reimbursed shows any employee expense reports which have already been reimbursed. To create an expense report, you can click on the plus button and you can either drag and drop a document or select and browse it from your computer. If your if your expense report policy does not require a receipt, this does allow you to simply create expense reports or allow your employees to create expense reports without submitting a receipt. So let's say, for example, a workplace policy is such that any expenses under $100 or $100 or less do not require a receipt. In that case, the employee can enter the amount, payment date, place a note, save, and close that. All right, and you can see this is the expense report that I have just created. Now, in order to send that over to the employee must then click on the three dots on the top right-hand corner and click on Submit Expense. The expense then moves over to the Submitted section. And if it's in Submitted, I can see the status is in verification. So that is what the employee experience looks like. I'm going to go ahead and log out and then log back in as the business owner. So that way you can see on the business owner side what that expense report process looks like. So if I go to the accounting tab, I can now see here I've got 5 invoices. So click on that. Now, an expense report from an employee comes into your docket as an invoice. So you can pay that through the as part of the amount of, it automatically becomes a part of your accounts payable, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. And so if I click here, I can see this is the expense report that Rebecca has just submitted. This is the format of what a no receipt expense report will look like. So it just shows the amount is 99.95. Um, there's no additional receipt that was needed to be posted as per my business policy. To verify it, you simply have to choose the category. I'm just going to choose any one there for now, and then mark as verified. When you're ready to pay that expense report, it's just like paying a bill. So a few moments ago, I walked you through the process of paying a bill. You simply click on the dollar amount and you can choose um, the type of payment that you want to make on that, whether it's docket check, ACH, etc., etc. Also, if you want to look at all of the expense reports, what you will do is go to the expense management drop-down menu and choose expense reports. Here you can see all of your employee expenses by choosing employee expenses on the top left-hand corner. You can look at year-to-date reimbursed information, the amount submitted, the volume of expense reports that have been submitted, and the volume of expense reports that have been reimbursed. And then if you click on that employee name, here you can see the status of all of that employee's expense report. So here I can see that one is ready to be reimbursed and one is in verification. And then if you click on the reimburse tab, then you can view all of the pertinent details related to your employees' reimbursed expenses. If you want to view the expenses while you're in here, you can do that. You simply have to click on it and you have all the information you need here as well. So this is one of those um, no receipt expense reports. All right, now I'm going to switch over to the web or the mobile app so you can take a look. So if you are an employee who is submitting expense reports, or you have a reimbursable expense that you want to put in to the business, you would click on the plus sign and then you would choose expense receipt. So there's this little gray, it's very small, so I doubt you can see it, but on the app, if you look towards the bottom of expense receipt, you can see in gray, it says business reimbursable. So that's the way to tell the difference between a business receipt that's going to go into receipt box versus an expense receipt, which is something that you want to be reimbursed. All right, so we covered quite a bit with accounts payable today. I'm going to pause there and see what questions we have. All right, got a whole host of questions. This is great. I love questions. Okay, so the first question we have here is um, docket check. What's the delivery time to the payee? So that is, let me just pull up the details on that. Going to show you where I get them. So we do have this awesome help center, and I don't have them memorized. I used to, but it's just not coming at the moment. So There are a few different options. So we've got the request submission time. So you must put in that docket check by 9 a.m. PST. Um, at that point, then the check is printed and leaves that facility to then go to USPS. So from there, it is a matter of 4 to 6 business days is what we typically see on average for USPS. Now, keep in mind during the holidays, so, the fall is very quickly on our coming on our heels here, and so with the fall comes the holiday time period. So during the holidays, you want to be add just a few extra days of time for yourself if you're using docket check, just because of all of the USPS delays that do tend to happen. But typically, you can, I would say, 4 to 6 business days is what you can anticipate. Um, all right. Next question is docket check. Is this similar to bank checks? It absolutely is similar. So what docket check is it's simply a matter of it's a bank check. And when you choose instead of docket to pay by docket check, it's as if it would, I mean, it's cut directly, it's a whole check that gets sent. It's a bank check in a sense that gets sent to your vendor, where the value in that is you don't have to write it out, you don't have to print it out. So we take care of the printing, stuffing it in the envelope, addressing it, and mailing it out. So it gives you a little bit of time back in your day from not having to take care of all of those things. So it's just like a bank check that's mailed to your vendor. All right, good questions about docket checks. So, how do you make a stop payment on a docket check? There's a few ways you can do that. So a stop payment on a docket check, the best way to do that is to connect with your bank to issue a stop payment on the check. I'm going to show you what one of those would look like. Give me a second to share my screen. Just going to blow this up a little bit so you can see. Okay, so this is our help article on tracking docket check payment. So once you pay by docket check and that check is printed and mailed off, you'll have an image of that check. So you can see what check number was attributed to that payment. And you'll get an image of that as well as the remittance that is mailed along with your check to your vendor. And you can look at the status. So that allows you to also see what is the status of your check. So you can keep an eye on that. You can see when it's mailed out, when it's in transit, when USPS has processed it for delivery. So the best way to stop a payment on that is to connect with the bank to let them know that they need to not pay that check. All right, I'm just looking at the questions here. Okay, so question is, for future reference, can we view the uploaded receipts after they've been approved, and how long are they kept? We never get rid of your receipts, so they will remain inside of your docket account until you delete them. So anytime you want to look at your receipts, whether it's a receipt that an employee submitted through for reimbursement or a receipt where you have uploaded that into Docket, it's still in your receipt box and it'll stay there in approved status indefinitely until you delete it. So that's up to you as far as if you want to routinely remove them, but people typically don't. They just keep those inside of their receipt box. So if you are inside of Docket, you go to expense management and you look at your receipt list. Over time, your receipt list will, this is my demo account, so I don't have a lot of activity in this. So you can see the approved receipts are there and they remain so. All right, so great question. The final question we've got here is employee reimbursements via check. Can the check be sent by a docket check or do you cut a check on your end? You do, since the expense report does come in as an invoice or a bill, you would treat that just like you would any other of your bills. So if you want to write a check, you can certainly do that and write it to the employee directly. Or if you want Docket to print the check for you and mail it to the employee, we can do that as well. And so we'll show you inside the product. Let me just load that. All right, so if I'm here, expense management, and go to invoice queue, I can see this is ready to pay. So if I were to pay by docket check, that means that docket is going to take care of generating the check and remittance statement to that employee at whatever address I have on file here for them. And then docket takes care of all of that. If I am gonna handwrite them a check or something like that here, or perhaps I have a petty cash and it's like, money that I have in petty cash and I'm gonna hand them a $20 bill or something like that, you can choose mark as paid. Cash would be petty cash. Manual check would be if you manually write them a check. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. I have really enjoyed demonstrating Docket to you today. As always, if you have any questions, you can contact us at support@docket.com. You can also reach out to your account manager. We're all happy to answer any questions that you may have. We'll be sending the recording out as well with a copy of the presentation, and that presentation will have links to our help article. So if you want to revisit the steps at any time, you can do so. Thank you for joining today's session on business operational activities. I really hope you found the information valuable. Be sure to join us for our next session next week, where we're going to dive deeper into Docket. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye now.